So this first old money essential has been around since 1847. Commissioned for King George VI, it was initially envisioned as a casual house shoe. Today though, this old money essential can be worn with a variety of outfits. You can pair it with shorts and a polo, and later that evening, match it with a casual suit. Evolving from the original 1850 Wildsmith loafer, since the 1950s, its official name, though, has been the Venetian loafer. That being said, throughout the world, and especially here in the United States, we know this loafer under a different name. The classic old money clothing item I'm talking about, gents, is the penny loafer. Now, really quick, let's define what a penny loafer is and what it isn't. Now, as you can see from the infographic here, the penny loafer, aka the Venetian style loafer, is easily recognizable by its lack of ornamentation. Specifically, it's a mid-heel slipper with an upper part that is slightly open to the kick of the foot and the ankle bone. Venetian loafers are slip-on shoes with no laces with a moccasin-style toe construction. Another key characteristic, and where traditionally some men would put a penny, is the slotted strap stitched across the vamp. In its simplest form, it's a slip-on loafer with a tongue and strap only. Now, when you compare Venetian-style loafers to other styles of loafers, such as horsebit loafers, tassel loafers, Belgian loafers, monk straps, which I know are technically not loafers, but they are slip-ons, and even boat shoes, which have the moccasin design but are using laces, you can see that Venetian style, aka penny loafers, are so much cleaner, simpler, and in my opinion, versatile. And that's why, gents, I put them right here at the top of this list, because you can dress them up, you can dress them down. If you invest in a good pair of versatile penny loafers, you're going to be able to get your money's worth out of them. In today's video, gents, we're talking old money essentials that every man needs to have in his closet. Now, gents, today's video is sponsored by my friends over at Anson Belt and Buckle. For over a decade, I've been wearing Anson's belts and buckles because they're timeless. And really, that's what old money's all about. On top of that, you guys know I love interchangeability. One of my favorite things about this is how all the buckles work with all the straps. Now, me personally, because I'm pretty rough on belts, I love their Invincibelt collection. That being said, if you want something a little bit fancier, check out their Premier collection. These are all handcrafted in the USA with crocodile or Italian calfskin. On top of that, let's talk about innovation. Their micro adjust system. So if you own a regular belt, you know that you can only adjust it every inch. What I love about Anson Belt and Buckle's micro adjust system is that you can adjust to the 1/4 inch. So the belt is going to be more comfortable and it doesn't get bent out of shape. And I have to say, gents, that's what makes Anson Belt and Buckle such great gifts, is that you get to cut the strap to adjust. You get one strap, you cut it to fit, and boom, you've got the perfect fit. And speaking of cutting to adjust, don't be scared, because this is one of the stories I love to share. I know one of you guys bought one of their belts and you cut it too short and you realize, okay, I've got to get a new strap. It was my fault. You reached out to Anson Belt and Buckle. The guy said that, hey, Dave took care of him just like family. That's why I love this company. Now, gents, when you go over to their website, you got tons of options, tons of straps, but to make this easy, down in the description of today's video, we've got an awesome package where you can grab 2 straps and 3 buckles, or 2 buckles and 3 straps. That's 6 belt combinations in their most popular box, and you can get this for under $100. That being said, if you don't know where to start, if you're like, I'm going to be on the fence, join their text club. They occasionally have a flash sale. They're one of my favorite companies. I have worked with these guys, again, for over a decade. I love what they're doing. I know the founders personally. An awesome father-son, family-run business. Check them out. Awesome deal. Yeah, use that link. Go check out Anson Belt and Buckle. Now, the next old money essential on this list was initially defined by its fabric, but nowadays it's defined by its style. Now, the fabric has been a staple in men's wardrobe coming in on 200 years, but the style that made it famous only surfaced about 100 years ago. What old school wardrobe essential am I talking about? Gents, the Oxford shirt. Now, the Oxford shirt gets its name from Oxford fabric. And in case you're not familiar with fabric terminology, Oxford fabrics are a basic basket weave. That means, in general, multiple weft threads are crossed over an equal number of warp threads. And really quick, warp threads are threads that run vertically, top to bottom. Weft threads go horizontal, left to right. Now, of course, all this is being done on a loom, and the basket weave, as you can imagine, is one of the simplest, earliest weaves that mankind used whenever they started making fabrics. Now, what makes the Oxford fabric unique is that they sometimes mix in multiple colors. They don't have to, they can go all white, but sometimes you see with that white, they'll mix in a bit of blue, they'll mix in a bit of red, and this gives a two-tone appearance. On top of that, depending on the fineness of the yarn and the tightness of the weave, we can get various types of Oxford fabric, from plain Oxford to pinpoint Oxford to the most expensive and formal and hardest to weave, Royal Oxford. Now at this point, you may be wondering, Antonio, why do these details matter and why is this an old money essential? Well, the answer is because nowadays people don't associate the shirt necessarily with the fabric, they associate it with a particular style. That is the button-down collar. You see, at the beginning of the 20th century, Brooks Brothers had taken this shirt from the polo fields and they started marketing it to the masses. And Ivy League students just jumped on this. It looked formal, yet it was comfortable. It was a very versatile shirt that they could wear to class and that men all over the East Coast started to adopt. In fact, they are so timeless now, so commonplace, and so versatile. Again, you can dress these up with a suit. You can dress them down with a pair of shorts, roll up the sleeves. That's what I love about these essential items, is that you can bring them into your wardrobe and you can get tons of mileage from them. The next old money essential on this list is another clothing item whose cloth gave the item its actual name, and that is chinos. So chino cloth, by definition, is a twill fabric made from 100% cotton. Now, as it we seem to be talking about weaves, a basket weave, simple, twill weave, a little bit more complex and more dense and more durable. Not great for shirts necessarily, but amazing for jackets and especially trousers that you want to be able to stand up to a beating. Now, chinos come in a wide variety of colors, and I do think that in a classic wardrobe, you can bring them all in, but the one that you're going to want to start with is the classic khaki, and khaki actually is a shade of brown, and that's why, this chino, and sometimes you'll hear the name synonymous, chinos, khakis, but understand, chino, it's more about the twill weave and the pant style versus khaki is actually going to be a specific color. Now, when choosing a pair of chinos, and if you go with the khaki color, make sure that the fit is right. You want these things to not necessarily fit as tight as jeans for a lot of guys, but they can be a little bit looser, but they should drape well, and you don't have to go with the twill fabric. If you want something that's a little bit lighter, maybe you want to go with a tropical weight wool, you can go with this color. And what I like about these is you can wear them with a wide variety of items in your wardrobe. They definitely have a bit of a summer feel to them, hence the original design, but you can wear these into the fall. You can definitely wear these in the spring. Now, if you get yourself a pair of chinos, what to pair with them? How about the classic navy blazer? Another old school money essential that I think more men should bring into their wardrobes. If you really don't want to own a blazer, maybe look at the sports jacket. But today I'm gonna make the case for the blazer. Now, I know most of you guys are familiar with suits. Suits are jackets and trousers made from the same fabric, but odd jackets and blazers and sports jackets both fall under these. These are jackets made separately. They don't have a matching pair of trousers, and you can wear them with a wide range of odd trousers, from jeans to khakis, as mentioned earlier. And of course, as I mentioned, tons of colors of chinos. What I love about a blazer is that you can have fun with it, bring in a pair of red chinos with that navy blazer. Actually, that combination looks great and it's classic. But if you wanted to dress it up, maybe look at a pair of gray flannel trousers. And you can wear this during the winter with that navy blazer right there. And navy blazers in general are going to be navy dark blue in color. They technically do come in a wide variety of different fabrics, from hopsack to serge, but the majority of them are going to be made from 100% worsted wool. And navy blazers in general are going to have a little bit more fun with the buttons. We're going to sometimes see a nautical theme. We're going to have gold buttons. You're going to have silver buttons, sometimes mother of pearl buttons. And yes, I do think you can take a navy suit jacket, maybe that has lost its trousers. If it fits and looks well, just simply get the buttons changed out. All of a sudden, you got yourself a blazer. And in case you're wondering, formality-wise, blazers do fall below suits in formality, but it's that time that you simply want to dress up the look, especially if you want to go for a tie, if you're going to be on the East Coast, if you're going to be down in Florida, if you're going to be down, Marina Del Rey for a presentation in California, I think that the blazer looks really good. And again, it's got the whole nautical theme. And I don't know, you go into a lake in Wisconsin, you could probably still find a way to pull it off. And yeah, in Wisconsin, I assume you're going out for a nice dinner, not necessarily going to the bar for a fish fry. Now, I know it's hot in a lot of areas of the world right now, but let's talk about jackets. Now, in particular, the waxed jacket is a type of hip-length jacket made from waxed cotton cloth, and it's iconic of British and Irish country life. Now, Barbour is the classic brand, and there are tons of examples, but I think that there are so many companies now making these waxed jackets. Really, what I love about these is that they are simple in design. For a lot of people, they don't want leather. They want something durable, something they can go through the brush, actually hunt in, or just simply wear around and have a really rugged look. These jackets fit the bill. And this is simply because they were originally designed for men that were out hunting, that were out fishing, that were out shooting. Now, on the inside, historically, we're going to find a cotton jacket used for insulation, keeping you warm. But nowadays you're going to find all different types of materials. I really like that they've gone towards performance materials. Cotton isn't usually the best insulator. But the key with the waxed jacket is that the outside of it is going to have to be waxed. And this is one reason that some men stay away from them, is because you do need to once a season go over and re-wax them. But if you do this over time, and this is really what gives this jacket its character, is that it starts to take on different hues, different looks. You can actually even use colored waxes depending on the color of the jacket. It just really has this nostalgic, really cool look to it, and I highly recommend them. That being said, 2 details if you're going to get a classic waxed jacket. Look for the tartan inside. That's going to be a particular pattern. It's going to be a bit of brightness, a little bit of color, and around the collar, you want to go for something that has leather or corduroy. Now, this next one is really small, literally, but it's something I think really adds a lot of class to an outfit. I've got a good friend that he actually had a number of shirts made, and he made sure that all of them had this, and that was room for cufflinks. So before there were buttons, cufflinks were the go-to. That was actually the norm. And what's nice about cufflinks, especially if you send your shirts off to the laundry and they get damaged, the buttons and everything, is that you control that. You actually, there are almost, my buddy, he has no buttons on any of his shirts. Everything actually he can place in, and he does this even with shirts that he wears without jackets. Now, is that practical for everybody? No. But if you get the chance to be able to bring some cuff links into your wardrobe, and you've got some shirts that are going to have the French cuff, or even you can go for a convertible cuff. There are different cuffs that you can get. You look around. Some of them are going to be custom, but I find that this is a really elegant, simple way to be able to level up the look, and it's definitely old school. Now, this next one seems obvious, but I got to state it, and that is having a nice classic watch that is mechanical, preferably. Now, you can go with quartz, and there's some amazing quartz movements out there, but I think in general, what you want to have is something that is mechanical, because that is really why a lot of people nowadays wear a watch. If you want to accurately tell time, simply look at your phone or get something that's electronic. But if you want something that is going to be about your relationship with time, something that you can pass on, something that's going to be an heirloom, something that is going to maintain a high level of value, then you want to invest in a watch. And yes, the higher end watches are going to be expensive. You could be spending thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars. But don't sleep on others. Seiko, I think it's Orient, a number of these brands that, for a couple $100, you can get a watch that looks really good, is going to get the job done. And maybe it's your placeholder until you can afford a more expensive watch. Or maybe you realize, hey, everything I need is here, and it's going to be the sentimental value you attach to the watch when you travel the world, when you're out doing things and achieving results, and you wear that watch as you're doing it. Now, these next 2 items, I think the majority of men actually don't own nowadays, because even me, I oftentimes lounge around in my athletic gear. Guys, get yourself a nice pair of pajamas and a beautiful bathrobe, something that's incredibly comfortable, that yes, you can be walking around, naked underneath it, but you feel good, something that you can wear around the house. Having these items, especially if you've got a lady over, all of a sudden, you're not looking like a slob, you're looking like you're well put together. Now, sadly, there aren't a whole lot of options out there, and I've actually considered putting together and starting a line. If you think that's a good idea, let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Next up on this list, I think having a really nice weekender. Yes, I could have put luggage, I could have put briefcases, and I think these things are nice depending on what your needs are. But I know for me, I do a lot of traveling just over the weekend. I need enough for 2 nights. I don't need a whole lot. I like something that I can easily carry, throw over my shoulder, something that I definitely don't have to check. And gents, there are tons of options out there depending on your size, your needs. I would advise though, going with something that you look at it, it's got beautiful hardware, it's got a beautiful, simple, clean design, not so big that again, you're going to have to check it. I do find a lot of people, when they go with a larger bag, they fill it up, versus smaller bags force you to travel light. But yeah, classic weekender, especially in leather with a simple, clean design, boom, right there. Now, what about a fragrance selection? Well, guys, I got you covered in this video right here. Old money fragrances, I highly recommend. If you're looking for a suggestion, I've got you covered here with classic men's fragrances that are going to have you smelling like old money. Guys, check it out. Solid video. And by the way, down in the description of today's video, I'll link over some other old money, building the wardrobe and stuff if you're interested in this topic.